I do have a hat somewhere.
Well, welcome back, Tom. Where are you now? Where do we find you? Belgium?
I'm in Belgium, southern Belgium.
Have you been there since the last time we spoke?
I've been here for the last 4.5 years. The last 3 years, I haven't been back to the States in 3 years now.
The impetus for this conversation really arose through Greg's son Austin's basketball experience.
Right.
So, if you saw Austin, I know you spoke with him, which I think is fabulous because he was having a tough time
Right.
with a coach and a basketball experience that didn't appreciate his skill level, which is high. I spent time with him on the court, and he's a terrifically skilled player, albeit a little undersized, and apparently got no appreciation from his coaches, who just without even looking opted for the bigger, stronger kids, even though I guarantee none of them could distribute the ball as he could or shoot the ball as he can. And it really hurt him personally and mentally. And that hurt his father. And his father also noticed that Austin wasn't the only one. And that kids who had the potential to be good players, and certainly the potential to love the game, were fleeing from the game. And that's why we wanted to speak with you as someone who's coached so many young people internationally. And it's my belief that, I don't know if you coach 10-year-olds per se or 15 or what, but a 15-year-old in Spain or Belgium, Japan, all the places you've been, have the same emotions as a 15-year-old here. And I think a coach has the same responsibilities to nurture that kid. And that's what it all comes down to. We have found, and I know Greg can speak on it, that many of the coaches we've seen today do not nurture the kids, and in fact, seem to believe they're more important than the kids they're coaching.
That's true. That's the pandemic in sports right now, in all youth sports, is that we have we have a lot of coaches, volunteer, and then others that are coaching AAU or select teams, and basketball, and you have select baseball, what have you, and they don't teach the game. All right, you can't coach sports unless you know how to teach first, and that's the most important part of the experience. John Wooden said it best. Coach John Wooden said it best. Students need teachers, not critics. And so when you have so many young people that hormonally are going through so many changes, their friends are getting taller and stronger and quicker and faster, and yet the mind, the psyche, the sports mind of that young person that plays video games and shoots in the backyard and plays with his friends, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. He has these dreams, this vision of excitement, anxiety, and adrenaline, and it's all positive, it's all good. And why is that experience so good? Because there's nobody yelling at him or her about their mistakes. No, don't do it like that. No, no, no. I mean, if you ever had a pet, okay, that was a puppy, all right, the only way it's going to learn is if you're patient with it, okay? And mistakes are part of the learning process. And so the problem I have with the coaches today, even here in Europe, I've been to France, I've been to here in Belgium and Finland 3 years ago, doing a clinic there, and talking to coaches in all the same level, from 12-year-olds up to 20-year-olds. And I said, Coach, I know you have passion for the game, but understand basketball is developmental, okay? And the most important part of that development is the mental part, okay? If they can't develop the self-confidence to learn from their mistakes, which is part of the learning process, and you compound it with your negative reaction instead of, okay, let's learn from that. Okay, let's not make the same mistake twice. Okay, and so the teaching point in all sports begins with the patience and developing that person into understanding there are only two habits in basketball, good and bad. There are only two ways to play the game, the right way and the wrong way.
Hey, Tom, I know you a little bit, and I know your passion's always been to mentor and teach not only coaches, but kids so they get the most out of their experience. But you've been doing it for a long time, and obviously there's been a lot of change. What do you think is the main reason for that? And then can we go back to how it maybe used to be when we spent more time coaching and teaching these kids so they could reach their potential and develop properly?
Well, I think it has to do with all organizations. I think when you have AEU, they have you have to fill out a form, they do background check and whatever. But I think there needs to be a certification program. I think American Soccer, American AYSA, American Youth Soccer Association, and also the American Swim Association, they have a very strict teaching certification. And in both cases, they have to go through a first aid, standard first aid certification. But, for the last 30 years, because my own children were involved in youth sports, multiple sports, uh, those areas of participatory sports, those coaches have to go through an 8 to 10 hour in soccer, an 8 to 10 hour instructional module and platform, and in swimming also, in the pool and out of the pool. And so I don't see that in basketball. I when I was living in Seattle for over 25 years, I did a free coaches uh, city of Seattle Parks and Recreation certification program for the youth coaches. I probably in those 30 years, I probably had over 3,500 coaches. All right, that attended the sessions from head coaches to assistant coaches. All right, you're talking about anywhere from 200 to 300 teams. That from the various ages up, and you could always tell the coaches that didn't attend that session, that certification session, usually the ones that had the problems with the officials, and made it personal. And now that's a distraction for the young kids. That model there, when the kids are 19 years old and they see the coach yelling at the refs, okay, and then they hear the parents parroting the same as the coach model. Now the kids begin to think it's personal, and instead of it being fun and keeping it real, now it becomes personal, and that's not the game. All right, it's the greatest team sport that we have on the planet. All the life skills are involved in working together, communicating, assist, uh, building up. Somebody makes a mistake. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Um, supporting your teammates when maybe they're not shooting so well. So for me, Greg, in answer to your question, I just think the model is wrong right now in the world as far as youth sports is concerned for basketball, in making the coaches understand the responsibility that they have to keep it real and honest, okay, and not make it personal.
So, in your certification process, I'm just curious. how do you encourage or implore or require a coach to have that, nurturing element to him, to make him understand that it's about the kids? It's not about you, coach. It's about the kids you're coaching. How do you make somebody, internalize that?
Well, that's a great question, Greg. We got a lot of ego amigos out there, all right, that vicariously are living through their children, coaching kids. And so just because they played the game doesn't mean they can teach or coach the game. They really need to take a step back and understand exactly what the commitment is and how they want to take that formative area in development, and so that from the elementary to the middle part and to the advance, okay, of being able to teach the game. And excuse me, I think a lot of the coaches, again, I appreciate there being volunteers, because it's difficult to find people anymore to volunteer, especially now with the immigration issue that we have in the United States. We have fewer and fewer coaches that sincerely were involved in community service. And the Hispanic community, especially, there were some really good Hispanic youth coaches out there, that really, for the passion of the game, were really positive and good models. And I saw several in Portland when I was living there and watching my grandsons play. And I really respect that community. And so, again, in answer to your question, change only happens, Rob and Greg, when the person accepts the change. So they have to change within themselves. I can't change anybody. You can't change anybody. And Greg can't change anybody. But once a person accepts change, okay, in their behavior and responsibility as a teacher in an organized sport, only then can you adapt, okay, in your role as a model to follow, and accept the responsibility to each child, to each individual, to make sure that they're having a good experience, okay, and not a bad experience. We all remember our our uh, our best teachers, okay, and we never forget, okay, the bad ones. And it's the same in youth sports. If you ever had a bad experience in youth sports, all right, and I've had several, okay, in baseball and basketball. But I've had some great teachers in basketball and worked with some great teachers. And so I never forget the bad ones. And I think that's what inspired me and motivated me at a young age to have this passion in my life to give back in a humanitarian sense to the world. I don't do this for profit. Okay, all my work that I did in Seattle, I had so many individual people that supported the model that I was presenting, the best effort camps and clinics. And I started that in Seattle, 1986, when I came from the Indiana Pacers. And as part of my contract, you introduce a summer youth basketball program in Seattle, and it was so successful that the Bank of America, it used to be Seafirst Bank, uh, loved it so much they took it to 3 states: California, Oregon, and Washington, and then they ended up going to Idaho and Montana. And I was gone by then when Seafirst Bank merged with Bank of America, and then for 2 years they were successful with that program. Jim Marsh, late Jim Marsh, who was the community relations director with Seattle Sonics, took it over after I left. Bernie Bickerstaff went to Denver, and I ended up going to New Jersey as assistant coach. And so, but we had a really good, simply good program, and the kids had fun, and we had them. They got a free ticket with their parent to go to a game, but they had to show the effort in class, and the teacher had to sign off that they gave their best effort. And we had kids write essays about why they like sports, okay, and what makes you happy when you play. We're talking about back in 1986,
Wow.
brother.
Yeah.
And I've taken that model all over the world. I have some wonderful essays, and
Wow.
I told the kids, if it's okay if you don't want to write, or you don't feel comfortable writing, then just draw a picture. And I have, Greg, I've shared some of it with you. I have some of the most
Oh yeah.
wonderful passion from the heart expressions that you could ever imagine, Rob. But I'll share them with you sometime, Rob. It'll really it'll warm your heart. All right.
Yeah, Tom, I've looked at a lot of your stuff. Obviously, we talk, and I think it's all phenomenal. I think most of it every coach should have, because there's so much fundamental stuff, not only from coaching and learning to eat right, but just how to treat kids, how to treat coaches. But I want to go back to the teaching part you mentioned there, because where I see it right now I see my son and a lot of kids, is there's not a lot of teaching going on. I mean, there's a lot of guys that talk basketball, but it seems like the process is moving so fast that a lot of coaches don't actually teach the fundamentals and the skills. And I'm just seeing that a lot of kids aren't having fun because they don't have the confidence, because no one's teaching them the skills. What, in your mindset, I mean, coaching for so long, I mean, it takes a while to learn these skills. Don't you think we should have more teaching rather than coaching at the youth
Well,
level?
yeah, but see, you call it fundamentals. I call it fun in fundamentals.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, it's a little different. All right. So when the kids are having fun in fundamentals, all right, now they begin to understand they're being empowered. They're being empowered to practice on their own. I don't know anybody that didn't do repetitions in a fundamental, all right, that would not allow them to come back to the next practice and be better with the ball handling, and be better with the layup, a right hand or a left hand, and work on their passing, maybe with a parent or a brother or sister. But the one thing that's happened is that coaches don't really emphasize to the kids how important it is to practice on their own. And so you have to put a value.
Hmm.
Well, whatever you put in to the activity, the only reward that you're going to have from that activity is the courage to compete. And when children develop the sense of self confidence, when they lace their shoes up and they visualize, okay, being successful, and visualizing making mistakes, but not panicking, okay, no tears, okay, but understanding that it's all about the best effort. It's all about leave it on the court, leave it on the field of play. Don't worry about anything else. All right, that's a great thing about education. All right, when you're learning math and you're learning language, is you have an eraser on a pencil. I'm sure now they just use a computer, but back in
Hmm.
the day, we had a pencil. If you made a mistake, all right, and you go back and you think about it, you go back and you go, oh, that wasn't right. That multiplication, that division, all right, the square root wasn't right, and so you erase it. Okay, the great thing about basketball, and the great thing about soccer, and the great thing about tennis and other competitive sports, um, except the individual track and field and swimming, is when you make a mistake on offense, you turn the ball over, you have so many opportunities at the other end of the court, all right, on defense, switching, talking on defense, blocking out, getting a rebound, a loose ball going on the floor. So now you've erased the mistake down there, and you don't worry about the air ball. You don't worry about missing the layup, okay, and then the putback shot, or the free throw. And so that's the beauty of the game. All right, it's a balance. Okay, you have such a great balance. Okay, and when a player learns that and is taught that by the coach, on the first day, hey, we're all going to make mistakes. When I would do camps with kids in the summer, and I do it here, and I teach them how to dribble, all right, with their head up and protect the ball, and then I'll go ahead and just bounce the ball off my foot, all right, because I want them to see me make a mistake. I want them to see how I react. And when I do that,
Yeah.
I go, and I look to my left and I look to my right, and I hurry over and I get the ball and I bring it back. And I go, how many have you have ever dribbled the ball off your foot in practice or a game? Raise your hand. Huh? All of them. Did you react the way I did? No. They all said, they all reacted like this. They had their head down, and it was like a helium balloon that had a hole in it and just fell to the floor. And so I said, well, see, here I am, an NBA coach all over the world. I'm teaching you how to dribble a ball, and I dribble it off my foot. Ah, isn't that embarrassing? Don't tell your parents, okay? Don't let them know that Coach Tom, all right, dribbled the ball off his foot, okay? No, don't tell them. They're all laughing. It, it was a booyah moment. It was a booyah moment.
Booyah. That's great. Booyah. Hey, Tom, tell us about your booyah. What does that mean? Because you told me.
Man, booyah right now is probably 20 years old. I spell it BOOHLYAH, and it's pronounced booyah. And excuse me. And what it is, it's basketball love. All right. Every foreign country, not I've been to 47. I would say 22 countries know booyah. All right. It's basketball love, and they all can say it. In China, in the Philippines, in Guyana, Venezuela, Finland. I didn't have it in Japan. I mean, it's just, it's just something that I used to say to the kids at the end of a camp, see ya. Okay, we go 1, 2, 3, see ya. And that got old, and I had to come up with something new. And so the fella that was on ESPN, he passed away, African American. Stuart Scott used to go booyah, and he spelled it BOOYA, and maybe another A. And really liked how he signed off. I really liked, how he acknowledged, and it was always with the pro sport. And but I never heard it around kids, all right, in youth sports, and it didn't have any DAP or anything like that. So I thought about it. So I came up when he passed away, and that passed. I came up with the booyah, and then you go boom, boom, that booyah, and so all the kids do it. And Holland, I have to tell you, I've been to Holland too. So I've been to 4 countries teaching booyah over here. So, but anyway,
I love it.
in answer to your question and my long answer, Greg, the teaching, all right, is fundamentals.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
I mean, I love your long answers because they're all well thought out. You've been doing this for a long time. It's not like you're just coming up with these lessons. I just can't help but be a little cynical with all the money changing hands with the AAU and all these other organizations that, like, on some level, who the hell cares whether the kids are having a good time? We want them
Exactly.
to win. We want them to win games.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how you certify, compassion. I just, it's a hard thing to sell these days, but it's the only thing that's going to sort of cure what we see as the ills impacting youth sports. Where's the compassion? Your whole booyah thing, it works because it's fun. And you're not talking about, a 3-2 zone. You're talking about having a good time. And just to go back for a second, I love the way you have kids, depict what they think of playing sports. Either draw it, write it. I mean, I'm enamored anytime I see a kid reading or writing, even
Right.
speaking these days. So anything that encourages that alone, particularly if it's in conjunction with sports, is just the healthiest thing in the world. I just
Absolutely.
don't know how you sell it these days. It seems like, we're three people who believe in everything you're putting forth, and I kind of feel like we're on an island. The only people who agree with us are people who have played for you, wherever that is, played for me because I was big on nicknames and, if it ain't fun, let's not do that anymore. Um,
Exactly.
and it doesn't mean you're not going to play hard. It doesn't mean you're not going to compete. It doesn't mean you're not going to give 110%. But it does mean that if you do dribble the ball off your foot, you don't have to look over at me because I'm not going to yank you. I know you already feel badly enough and you're going to try to avoid it in the future. But I think that's what you get these days. Make a mistake and start looking for the coach to hook you. And that's in all sports. So I want to be optimistic about things, but it's increasingly more difficult from what I see probably because of the money and probably because
Yeah.
of the egos.
Yeah. Well, I want to try to help you with something here, Rob. Um, we're not trying to sell anything. Okay, we're trying trying to present a positive, constructive model to follow that will allow coaches to take responsibility to change their notion that they know the game, and they may know the game, but they don't know how to teach. That we can help parents who are the best supporters, and the family members are the best supporters of their child, their children in organized sports. Okay, to have a good experience. Okay, because if you have a coach that's negative and you have a parent, just like you said, a kid shoots an air ball and he looks, and dad, is like, "Oh, I didn't teach him how to do that." And
Mm.
then he sees mom, and mom is talking to another mother, and he or she's going, "Well, at least she didn't, see that." Okay, so it's okay. I'm all right there. But you're right. Instead of looking at the bench, the first thing they do. I'm talking about kids 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And even older. Even over here, the first thing they do is they turn their head and look at the stands.
Yeah.
Where the parent is or the relatives. And so why is that? Well, that's their parachute. Okay, in youth sports, the parachute is packed by the parents. Okay, so if they're going to free fall, all right, where they have a bad game or a bad inning, excuse me, or in soccer, their goalie and they gave up 3 or 4 goals, it's just like the world has come to an end. And so, but if the parent psychologically packs the parachute, all right, and keeps humor in the support model, then the child is going to understand that it doesn't matter how negative the coach is. Okay, I know the best support I have is my mom or dad or my brother or my sister. All right, true story. My son was 13 years old, playing on a Mercer Island 8th grade team, and no, 7th grade team, and they were playing against the Mamish in a game, and it came down to a 1 point game with 3 seconds to go, and he got fouled. And I never sat with my wife to watch the game. Always sat away from parents because I never watched my children with other parents. All right, I just refused to do that. I didn't want to hear their commentary. Okay, uh, negative or positive. I wanted to, just be myself, separate. And so he makes the first one, tie game, and the parents are going crazy, and his teammates are, standing up, and I'm at the opposite end of the court, opposite side of where the parents are sitting, and he steps away. Always taught him, step away. If you're not ready to shoot a free throw, step away. Okay. Take a deep breath. And then when you're ready, make eye contact with the ref. Have your hands ready to receive the pass and just go through your normal routine. Okay. And just nail it. All right. And that's how we practice together. So he shoots net. Okay. They get the ball in. They can't get a shot up. Game over. And it was his first experience of a game winner. Okay. Now imagine if you've ever been in that position of a game winner. Okay. You're really excited, but it's the first time you've ever had to absorb the emotions of your teammates and parents. Okay. Of your teammates. Okay. Because they all were just, so excited because Sam Mamish at that time was one of the really good 7th grade teams and on the east side. And so anyway, they're all excited, this, that, and the other. And so I'm out in the car waiting for him, and he comes out. He gets in the back seat. His mother is talking to a couple other parents, and at that time, there was a E. coli uh, uh, scare going on in Seattle at Jack in the Box. And so he gets in the back seat. All right. And I dap him. I go, way to go, Newell. That was a money shot there. That was really good. I'm really proud of you. Did you have fun? Oh, yeah, Papa. Oh, yeah. Well, good. We're going to go to Jack in the Box and celebrate. And I'm looking straight, and I'm waving to parents that are going to the parking lot. His mother gets in the car. No, Mom, Dad, Papa's going to take us to Jack in the Box. Tell him we can't go there. We can't go there. They got E. coli, E. coli. but anyway, that's the level of emotion that I have when it comes to the a game finale because there's always another game. All right,
Yeah.
whatever level, there's always another game. You're excited. All right, when it was with the Sonics, it was game 4 in Houston. There's 2 seconds left. Nate McMillan takes the ball out of bounds. Alton Lister sets a back screen on Derek McKee, and Nate throws it up. They didn't switch, and Derek catches the ball, dunks it, game's over. And we advanced to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers in 1987. And the players were excited, and the Houston people were in shock. All right. Bernie Bickerstaff was the coach and running, get the players off the court. All right. So they can't change the score. All right. I'm exhausted. I'm thinking about, now we got the Lakers. This was on a Thursday night in Houston, national TV. The game's over like at 10:15, 10:30. And we're going to get up early because back in the day, we didn't have a private jet. And so we had to be at the airport to take the first available flight to LA. Okay. Now, pro athletes, after a big win, all right, they're not going to Dairy Queen. Okay. They're going to go eat and be merry. And so I'll never forget, Bernie said, be smart. All right. Get your sleep. We don't know whether we play Saturday or Sunday, so we got to be ready to go. Well, David Stern, loved CBS so much and loved the Lakers show, all right, with Magic and Kareem and the whole group, all right, and Pat Riley, because they were the team, right? And they gave us a game, all right, at 2:00 on a Saturday. We don't get in to LA until 11:30, I think, maybe noon. Guys are like this. So we can't have a shoot around. Okay, they're tired. They got to get their sleep. The only thing we did is we had a meeting to remind them, hey, we know you have friends that are coming, and you're going to get tickets for them, and there's going to be families going to be, but we played them all. Right, we played them all at 2. All right, and we're going to have a walkthrough in the morning, maybe, but please get your sleep. Okay, really, really important. We canceled the walkthrough on Saturday morning. We played the game, national TV. Mike Mathis was one of the officials, and he called 2 quick fouls on Chambers in the first quarter, and against James Worthy, really suspect. And the game was close. I mean, we had a chance to win that game, but I never forgot, and I really blame the NBA for the injustice of not allowing the optimum level, performance level of athletes to get their rest. All right, be ready to play a national TV representing a product and a brand. Okay, to be able to demonstrate and exhibit, all right, their best skills, and I'll never forget that. Hey, Rob, forgive me for digressing there.
No, it's still on that level. It's different because it is, everything's money on the pro level, but
Yeah.
it's still an issue of fairness and B, taking care of the players, not figuring out how to make the most money on the broadcast and, the greatest show on whatever they called the Lakers and Showtime and everything else.
Right,
So
right,
it's still priorities in the wrong place.
right, right. No, you're
So,
right. But it's like you said, it's about the money.
yeah.
It's all evolved, and the greatest sin that's ever been entered into American organized sports, and even at the intercollegiate level now, is your online betting that you can bet.
Oh my
All
God.
right,
Just
from your phone.
awful.
I mean, it has destroyed more relationships, more teams, uh, communities. All right, because of the influence of the money and thinking. You get drunk with the pride of your Yankees and your Mariners and whoever, Dodgers. And so you're betting on the individual. You're betting on what they call props, is what I understand. I've never
Yeah.
bet on a game, and so that's the real danger. My father, my late father, Pete Newell, back in I think it was 94 or 95, uh, went back to D.C. and spoke to a Senate subcommittee at the request of Senator John McCain to talk about organized sports and gambling, and the impact it would have on amateur sports. And I, it, I never saw it. They didn't have it on C-SPAN, but he was so happy to have that opportunity to make the senators aware that if you legalize gambling, all right, it's going to have an influence in amateur sports. And so look what you have now. You have the NIL, that's become an influence, and that's carrying over into AU basketball because you have parents that are gambling on their sons or daughters that are going to evolve as 12-year-olds into an NIL brand. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, this thing's going to blow up in the next year. Okay, trust me. It's the it's a slow fuse, but it's going to blow up. It can't. The model can't stay the way it is in sports.
I I cannot agree with you more. And I think they're separate but related issues. But this epidemic, this absolute scourge of just gambling. You can bet on the halftime score. You can bet on who's going to have the first hoop, who's going to
Yeah,
score the first run, who's going to have the first hit, who's going to hit the first shot, who's going to hit the last shot. Anything in the world you want to bet on, you can bet on these days, sports and otherwise. I mean,
right.
for God's sake, people are betting on, how many people are going to get killed in an invasion of whatever it might be. It's really a
Exactly.
sickness. But beyond all that, I think it goes way beyond even what you imagined in terms of ruining lives. I mean, just gambling alone is a horrible addiction, and we could not be encouraging it more. And the fact that there seems to be nobody who says this is insanity and we're driving our own people, out of life. It's just crazy to me. But in terms of, sports, yeah, the NIL, it's driving everything. Kids, well, now at least they've changed a little bit in that you can only use the portal once, from what I understand, moving
Right,
forward.
right.
And I think that's a move in the right direction. But, loyalty isn't valued anymore. Money is valued.
No, and it begins with the coaches. When you have coaches that are puddle jumping, okay, and they put a value on their attraction to the alumni, like the coach that's at LSU now, Kiffin, that
Oh my God! Well, he's been
left
horrible from the
Mississippi
get-go.
State, and I mean that's one example. Steve Sarkisian, is another.
Yeah.
And and they're good teachers, okay, but they put a value on themselves. Well, if players are going to get paid, I'm going to get paid, type thing. And I've always believed that college athletes should be allowed to play 6 years, that they all get a paid for being on a team. All right, they get a not a stipend, but they're employed because they're raising money for the university. All right, there's television money, there's royalties from the jerseys and other equipment. But I believe that they all should have the opportunity to play 6 years. And if they transfer, all right, they automatically lose a year, and they automatically only get half, all right, of that money, all right, for being getting a scholarship, at the school. If they stay there and graduate after transferring, that money that was cut in half, all right, for 2 years or 3 years, when they get that degree, they would have it in hand. Because there's so many athletes that are out there that believe they're going to play professional sports, football, basketball, baseball, and they don't. So they declare for the draft. They transfer to 3 or 4 schools. They get money, okay, but they have nothing. They can't go back to school and get their degree. They either are incomplete, okay, they're broken spiritually, emotionally, and so you take a look at an offensive lineman, or defensive lineman. The colleges, they build them up to 270, 300 pounds. Okay. Uh, they have a great meal cafeteria, for the players. But once their eligibility is over with, okay, they don't have that same nutrition plan because they can't afford it. And they don't have their degree and their eligibility is over with. So what do they become? Security guards, diabetic, uh, no idea what they want to do because there was never a discipline, okay, or a plan to do something constructive that would help them, that where they intern during the summer to learn a skill, whether business or some other entity. So I think it's going to blow up. I really do. I think that if they take away the benefit for half the benefit of what they uh, got before, I think that might bring some commonality. But I would like to see where all the athletes are receiving the same. 1 through 70, 1 through 12. It's just not about the quarterback, or wide receiver, or running back, okay, or a linebacker, or it's not about the center or the point guard. All right, that's McDonald's All American. So
And it's not about the UCLA and the Notre Dames and the haves and the have-nots. So I view you as a very optimistic individual because you're a teacher, and I think teachers by nature have to be optimistic because their goal is to help the people they're teaching get better, learn more, live a better life, be happier, be more productive on the field, court, off the field, court, whatever. So I appreciate you tremendously and I know everybody you've worked with does too. But
Thank you, Rob.
as a serial optimist, what's your level of confidence that, I mean, you know, maybe this sort of corrupted system blowing up would ultimately be a good thing. I mean, it would have to be if it's a horrible system and it blows up, that's got to bring about a positive change. But, and I don't like asking yes or no questions, but are you optimistic that this trend can be reversed?
Well, I think with people like Greg Stern
Yeah,
in the community and people like yourself with a voice, Rob, anything's possible. Okay, I mean we're blessed with the ability to speak, uh, to serve. All right, not to take, to serve, uh, to be a part of a community that cares. You know, you talked before about empathy, you know, and compassion, you know, and those two things alone are so important for children to learn at an early life. All right, when they can learn community service, when they can learn to give back, okay, whether it's helping a neighbor with the yard or helping you know with the gypsy dumpster going out to the curb, all right, an older person. When our children are taught, empowered to help others, to open a door for somebody, to say thank you, all right, to say thank you. When they
yeah,
learn the proper human skills of engagement, all right, and exchange, then yeah, I'm a serial optimist, as you call me. And I think that you with a voice and Greg with his and the work that he's doing in his community and the impact that you both are trying to make in a positive way, you're going to have detractors. Trust me. We just live in that culture in America right
yeah,
now
yeah,
that you know if you're not on that bus that right now has a couple flat tires in the back, all right, it's a front wheel drive bus right now, okay, but there are a couple wheels in the back that are flat, and
yeah,
so either going to stay on that bus or you're going to get off the bus, all right, and find another mode of transportation to get you where you need to go,
yeah,
okay. And I think that as parents, grandparents, um, as single adults, we all have that opportunity to go back into community as volunteers, but we need to take a self introspective reflection. That's better to take a reflection on what exactly do we want to put into this and receive, and being a volunteer coach with the kids and being able to educate the parents how they can help their son or daughter, you know, with this activity. Uh, and I think you know until coaches understand that kids today are not going to practice on their own unless you tell them what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. If you put a half hour into playing Xbox, okay, you see yourself getting better. All right. If you play a half hour every day, are you getting better? And they all raise their hand. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, think about if you put a half hour into making right hand layup, a left hand layup, work on your ball handling, okay, crossover, okay, inside out, all right, keeping your head up, dribbling with your eyes closed, but you just develop a feel for the ball. All right. Those repetitions are going to develop the same confidence that you have when you play video games.
Hey, Tom, I just want to talk about a couple of things here, going back, a lot of topics all over, but let's just take the money and forget about the betting at the college level and NIL. But let's go all the way down to the youth level where it all starts. Right now, what's corrupting that is money. And that is because the money comes from these tournaments and they're run by organizations like Made Hoops, which is kind of the, the people behind the scenes. But what's happening is the focus so quickly is on winning that they don't prepare all the kids to win. They prepare for the weekend. Let's run offenses. And if we got 2 kids that are athletes, we'll go with that. But the challenge with that is all the money is here on the tournaments, but they only practice twice a week. So if a kid's practicing twice a week, they're not getting a lot of opportunity to learn. And the other part of that is, and I will say this on my own experience, I almost think it's 2 generations removed from when coaches came in there and taught fundamentals. I'm talking about beyond dribbling and shooting and passing. Like, I watch these games, they don't box out, they don't know how to cut, they don't know how to deliver a pass. And when I go watch the practices, I watch it, I go, they don't teach it. So here's the only training and teaching they get, really. And it's messed up too. They go over to these trainers where they focus on one-on-one moves and shooting, but don't learn anything about IQ, boxing out, cutting, screening. So the kids that are good athletes feel like they're doing well, but the other kids don't feel good because they're not involved, because they don't have the skills. And now it's leading to quitting. It's no fun. There's no fun in the mentals. And so I think that's going to implode too, because kids are quitting more and more. And now the kids who don't have the skills are thrown in situations, they feel pressure from their parents who paid to be on the teams. It's imploding. So there needs to be a new path. And we need to go back to what you did, was teach these fundamentals where they got time to learn, time to make mistakes and enjoy it. But now a lot of kids don't practice at home to do the right hand and left layups because they go to this structured thing over here and not having fun. And they don't see a future for them. So they just, they come home and they get on their computers. But the money is ruining it because they're making so much. And there's no accountability. And why would they change the system if it's benefiting these people who have the power? And so my goal is to follow your lead and your mentorship and all these programs to go in there and kind of create another path, which I believe is just the path that was done before. But the money is ruining youth sports.
I agree.
Oh, everything you've said obviously resonates with Greg and me, and the purpose of what we're doing now is to let as many people as possible hear the fact that a guy such as yourself, with more experience than arguably anybody walking and teaching these days has. And, my dad always said everything was a numbers game. You can talk to 100 people. If 10 of them believe you or grasp onto it or pass it forward, that's going to be important. So, I still embrace all the things you talk about. I only wish that coaches understood it better and practiced it, or were made to practice it, or were certified, nurturing, knowledgeable coaches. But, it's too bad that we find ourselves hoping that the whole system blows to hell and we're back to square one, teaching fundamentals or fundamentals and getting kids back to a healthy participation.
That's a good point, Rob. And I want to follow up with you, Greg and Rob, on this. Do you know what the 4 least developed areas in basketball today, all over the world, that I've experienced in the last 50 years? The 4 least
Passing?
developed fundamentals in basketball.
No.
All right. Ball handling, dribbling, left hand, right hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Passing. All right.
Yeah.
Basic pass, chest pass, bounce pass, step through pass. All right. Wraparound pass. Okay. Putback shots. Off a rebound, offensive putback shots. You get a rebound, you go ahead and you put it back up. Okay. Left side, right side.
Yeah.
All right. The 5th, okay, actually there are 5, is free throws, making free throws.
Mm.
Those 5 areas did I say 5? The passing?
I think I heard 4.
4, okay. The 4 that I'm talking about, okay, are all individual and they're all repetitious. And so they're all empowering. So again, we come back. Xbox or driveway. or the park. And
Yeah.
so it's a real simple choice, okay? But it has to be something that they want to do and that they are empowered to do by the coach model. And
Yeah.
so, Rob, I hear you and I empathize with you regarding the model, and Greg as well today. And these coaches are negative, and they don't have each of the kids' best interests in mind in some cases.
Yeah.
But when I go to a game to watch youth basketball, and I'm going to tell you, they have the same problem here in Belgium with the youth coaches. They have a certification program where these coaches never played basketball, but they can take a course for level A, level B, and level C, and pass the certification. All right, and then they have a book, all right, that shows the drills. Never played, okay, but they get paid. It's automatic. They get paid $50, all right, a game. So they might end up making $300-400 a month, uh, uh, representing a club in a village, and that's at the various youth levels. And it's bad because those coaches are negative. I don't like them. I don't respect them. I developed a really good rapport with one village here with the organization. Really have tried to help them understand the importance of teaching. They're buying in slowly because I played here and had a very good reputation 50 years ago, 55 years ago. And I gave so much to the community here. I used to do free training sessions for the kids. And they come up to me, they're 50 years old now and they remember me. And that's scary.
That feels good.
Really. But anyway,
Well,
I just, thank you so much for this opportunity to share my thoughts. I have on LinkedIn.com. I started a couple of years ago. I haven't been on in a while. I call it Gems from the Gym, GEMS from the Gym, GYM. And it's just some of the reflective experiences I've had teaching youth basketball and coaches all over the world, and my NBA and WNBA experiences.
I'm writing that down. Well, I mean, everything you said was kind of a gem. And all we can do is put it out there.
Amen.
And we will. And I can guarantee this won't be the last time we talk because we're both going to say, oh man, we should have talked to Tom about this or that.
I already got it in my head.
Yeah.
Ken, thanks.
And we've already, we've already kind of theorized about some means of certifying youth coaches here. Don't know what it's going to be, but I can guarantee if we get anything that becomes in any way concrete, you're going to be the first call as to how the hell we can do it. And, you've made me feel a little better. I think I've caught a little bit of your optimism. I will say
Sangria.
that one of the sangria.
Mon ami, tu bois, sangria, okay, amigo?
See. I will tell you though that one of the great, ironic, just incredible pleasures of my life is that, during this interim, without his looking for it, my son, who I coached in baseball and was a tremendous player and played in college, had a pretty lousy college coach, definitely thought he was the most important guy. I mean, Jake had a triple in both ends of a doubleheader to win both games, and the guy sat him the next game. Didn't even play him in his hometown. But anyway, he has become a baseball coach.
Oh, wonderful.
And he's sensational, man.
That's great.
He has every good quality I ever had and none of the bad ones. So,
Well,
and he's
you never let him
he
see those, Rob. Remember
he
that.
saw him, but he's smart enough to
That's
decipher
great.
between them. But there is he's within a community of some young guys that do get the big picture, I think, but he certainly does. So all is not lost, and we'll certainly keep you apprised of anything that we do. I know I know Greg has enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and you're a fantastic guy and a credit to sports and to humanity. And you're a teacher, and there
Well,
just
thank you,
aren't. Yeah, yeah,
Rob. I would like to suggest this. All right, if we could get your son and some of his parent friends in a round table with Greg, myself, and on video like this, and just have an open forum.
yeah,
I think it'd be a wonderful experience. I think that we, in each of our own worldly experiences in sports, we could really enlighten them, and then you would see why I'm a serial optimist. Okay,
yeah.
because yes, you're very very proud and very happy. I'm excited for you that your son is in the community and he's having fun.
Yeah,
He's having fun. Okay, he's giving back from the experience that he had, the excitement, the anxiety of preparing and competing and having the courage to compete. And he received that from you. Okay, and so for him to be able to reinvest, all right, from his life experiences back into his community, man, bless him. That's all I got to say. Bless him. But I would love to if we could do an open forum.
yeah. I'll make that happen. He's got two kids he trained committed to Wake Forest. Two kids he trained in high school
Okay.
have committed to Wake Forest in baseball. Now,
Wow.
part of that still feeds into that whole NIL thing,
Right.
but these kids are pretty pure. And as soon as school ended for one of them, he was back in the gym with Jake working. And the last thing I'll say about that is Jake was the best point guard in his school as a sophomore.
Wow.
I mean, he could go either way easily, but I never told him to show off in tryouts, and he got cut. I mean, he was gifted and unselfish, but could shoot lights out and got cut.
Right.
I was ready to jump off a cliff, but he took it as one of those life
It was
lessons that
it was
he
a
didn't have
it was
anything.
a he turned a negative into a positive because he ended up playing college baseball and the most fun, I'll tell you right now, the most fun he's ever going to have in sport is what he's doing right now. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Hey, Bob,
you would know.
you know, what's
You
that?
would know, Tom. You would know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to go back to Greg about something he said about the money in AEU and how it's getting out of hand. If the shoe companies would take the responsibility of really understanding how important their influence is in supporting tournaments. I know that they've been, for the last 15 years or 12 years, been working with the NC2A on, making sure that everything's, legitimized by the NC2A before they can, bring in teams or whatever. But they got to do more than that, in my opinion. And I think the money part that you're talking about, um, the, the elite teams are being sponsored by the shoe companies. The elite teams have players that are already getting NIL money. Okay, they're already
Yep.
getting paid when they're 17, 18 years old. All right. The parents are getting paid, not the kid individually, but the parents are already being sustained, all right, by the shoe companies with the hope that the son will go to this school or go to that school, you know, because of the association with that AAU team. And because, so a kid is wearing Adidas. And so the hope is that he's from California, and the hope is that he'll end up going to Kansas. I don't know if Kansas is Nike or Adidas, but the hope is that he'll end up going to Kansas because of the association with Adidas for 2 years. And the other schools that are recruiting him are Nike schools. So until we balance that out and we get into the real true regulation and responsibility and stewardship, you know, of these tournaments, Greg, I agree that 100%. It's out of control, but I put it on the adults. I put it on the organizations.
Well, Tom, the whole tournament and the whole league is you got the Nike, EYBL, and you got Adidas, and you got Under Armour. So the whole organization runs all those tournaments. So they kind of got the run of the road on that. I mean, they're definitely recruiting and promoting and all that stuff at the highest level.
Yeah.
And you know, when I talk to parents about, you know, their kid and their potential and that they could play D1 or going to go pro, you know, this is the young level. They're bringing those topics up. That's the problem right there. Why are these
Yeah.
even coming up? We just need to talk about your kid having fun and learning some skills, and that's a byproduct of this process they go through. But it's so infiltrated into the mainstream that at the lowest level, they're already talking about colleges and pros, and it's like, well, you skip the whole process, you know.
Right.
But it is the root of it is money, you know.
Yeah.
And it is. So,
Well,
but I appreciate that.
when it destroys itself from the inside, maybe old school will become new again.
There you go. See, you're already becoming an optimist.
Tom, it's grow the game. We got to grow the game a different way.
Yeah.
I think we should do it like a team. We should do a team booyah.
On
You lead
three.
it, Tom.
One. Booyah!
Booyah! We got.
Hey, Tom, thank you so much for your time. It's been great. Thank you. I appreciate it because we'll be back with you, no question. And
That's
at
Tom Yoda Newell.
At the very
Tom
least,
Yoda
I
Newell.
want my
Wisdom.
son to talk to you at some point because you're thank. You don't have to promise me. I already know. So thank you so much. Greg, we'll talk. Thank you so much. You too.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it, man.
Au
Talk to you
revoir.
later.
Adios. Whatever.
Robbo.
Au revoir, mon ami. Absolument. Be well, Tom.